Mount Harriet, June 11th and 12th, 1982. Corporal Roberto Baruzzo. At night, the British naval bombardment began, and I started hearing horrible screams and groans of pain from my comrades. We did what we could to survive. We hid behind rocks to avoid the bomb fragments. I thought at that moment, if a bomb is going to fall on me, it will kill me here or anywhere else. So I went to help my comrade. When I got close to him, I realized he was missing a leg and that the right side of his face was badly injured. I carried him on my shoulders, and an NCO appeared and told me to take him to the truck. There was a path descending from Mount Harriet where there was a Land Rover, and we carried the wounded soldier there. From there, he was taken to Port Stanley, and I later learned that the soldier survived. Unfortunately, after we returned from the war, that soldier was one of the first to take his own life. He lived with his mother and sister in the neighborhood of Wilde, Buenos Aires. It was a deep pain for me. I had felt so happy to have saved his life while risking mine, and sadly he made that decision. Then the naval and land artillery bombardment began. So I left my rifle and, carrying only my combat knife, went to help the fallen comrades. But some were already too badly wounded and could not even speak. Those brothers had no chance of survival. Suddenly I was warned that British troops had already infiltrated. I tried to peek out from behind a rock, and so many tracer bullets were fired that I realized they were not Argentine soldiers. When I left that rock, I could see the British encircling movement between my 4th Infantry Regiment and myself. So I followed the channel along the lower part of the hill and saw a group of officers talking. One of them said it wasn't worth risking one life to save another. They were talking about rescuing 1st Lieutenant Jorge Echeverria, who had been trapped in the middle of the battle on Mount Harriet. Then I told the commanding officer that I wanted to go alone to try to rescue that comrade. Lieutenant Colonel Soria looked at me and said, "Go, Baruzzo, go. God loves madmen." I left the area, walked a few meters, and saw a soldier from the 4th Regiment badly wounded in the stomach. I approached him and said, stay calm, I'll get you out of here." And at that moment, the soldier died. It was nighttime, and suddenly the British began launching flares that lit everything up as if it were daytime and lasted quite a while. That's when I saw Julio Romero firing at the British and fighting with incredible fury. Suddenly, hundreds of tracer bullets fell on Romero's position, and he jumped to the other side of the rock where we met at that moment. He wasn't in a natural position. It was one he had made himself. I looked from the side of the rock, fired my rifle as best I could, and killed a British soldier. I looked at Romero, and he was already dead. At that moment, they began firing from the other side of the rock. Then I turned and went toward the position of the Englishman I had just shot. But he wasn't dead. He was dying. The soldier looked at me, and I noticed he was wearing a purple or violet beret on his head and had, on the right side, what looked like a royal crown. He was badly wounded. He made some gestures with his hands and died. At that moment, the most important thing for me was to take that position, and I saw that the Englishman's rifle had night vision. It was a green-colored sight.